Well, first we have to realize that technology is not something new. Just even looking at the meaning of the word technology is an Egyptian word. Tech, T-E-K, was how it was spelled back in Egyptian times, and it was a religion. It was part of a worship connected to the name of the serpent. So that, again, we have the serpent symbol being very much at the heart of the symbolism connected to technology. But technology has been on this planet for aeons. In my work, you see, we were visited about 50,000 years ago by beings, off-world beings, who have been, instrumental in our civilization. During a great war that they had in the past, the so-called War of the Gods that all the mythologies talk about, they lost all of their technological hardware. This was a war that was fought with incredible weaponry and sophisticated hardware, but the war was so severe that it actually precipitated enormous earth changes. And a lot of authors and a lot of scientists have been able to discover now information that the earth did go through these great cataclysms, but they haven't drawn the right conclusions. One of the most important understandings is that the technology of the ancients, the technology that built the Temple of Solomon, the technology that built the pyramids, the technology that the Maya are known to have used in their calendars, the technology that built the first ships that navigated the seas in ages long past, basically the technology that created the ancient world and also the empires of the historical age. This technology was lost. So when we find ourselves today in a silicon age, in a cybernetic age, we have to understand there's nothing new about that. It's only because we have a myopic historical vision and that we have historical amnesia that we think that it's only since the Renaissance, or it's only since the industrial age or the agricultural age, you see, that man built machines and man had railways and man started getting into the concept of machinery and technology. This is an age-old movement, and we are just been provided or given a very small, limited vision, modern vision into it. But if you look at the symbols that the corporations of the great technological corporations are using today, and some of the memes and the logos that they're using, you will see that they are also referring to their ancient roots. What we're seeing today is but the arrowhead of a long arrow stretching way back into time. The Royal Academy and the Royal Societies and the royal dynasties of the world who are funding these Silicon Valley groups and funding this genetic research, because even though they call the Silicon Valley, 3/4 of the companies in the Silicon Valley have nothing to do with silicon. They're all genetics. Did you know that? The Silicon Valley is 3/4 of the economy there is run by companies that are into genetics, not just silicon chips. So there's a big disguise going on. Basically, a lot of what the science fiction people are saying, what I think the greatest writers tend to talk about this post-human man, the cybernetic man, which is a creature. We've talked on other shows about the inauthentic man, that man's whole life is motivated by the guilt that he has from living an inauthentic life. But technological man is also connected to this guilt complex. If you live your life so in an anti-human way, meaning if you have no idea, you're living as a human being, but you're not really human. You've dumbed yourself down to the level of such an automaton. You're basically a programmed automaton because you've been programmed by your parents, you've been programmed by your peers, you've been programmed by the teachers, you see. You've been programmed by the media, as almost every young adult today is programmed by the media. It's almost unbelievable. Anything they see on television, 5 minutes later they're into it, worse than ever before. And if you do this and you reduce yourself, so this mechanistic, or what you might call technotronic, this is the word that, Brzezinski uses, the technotronic world that they're trying to create. Well, they've been successful. Man is living as a technotronic automaton. So he has reduced himself to what in Doctor Who they have the Cybermen, part human, part organic, part human. It's thinking. It's all in your thinking. Your thinking can become so super rational, so technological, so anti-human, so anti-organic, so anti-feminine, that your thinking can become literally the thinking of a robot, of a machine, something that can in fact be programmed. That is the origin of the technological man. And of course that individual will feel more at home in a world of technology and cold machines than he will amongst warm human beings with passions and with realities. On a more psychological level, this identification, this automatic, like a man being an automaton, happens because man has literally identified with his leaders. On a more psychological level, this identification, this automatic, like a man being an automaton, happens because man has literally identified with his leaders. The leaders are already, in my belief, literally physically descended from Atlanteans, off-world beings who were technologically advanced. We are living in the mirror image of our masters who are technological, even in the prehistorical age. They're making us in their image. We are their servants. No more and no less. They have only kept us around, and certainly the middle class is in great jeopardy now because they really don't need us anymore. From one angle, you see, they've only kept us around because we've been of service to them in their journey to build back the technology to get to the point where they can restore the weaponry and the technology that they have. These are technotronic people from a technotronic planet, from a technotronic age on their own. They came here, infected this planet, and have been basically making us in their image. However, the dumbed down, we still have a human aspect to ourselves, but you see, the human aspect is identifying with the power. I talked about this in the presentation, The Future of Mankind, that how it is that we identify with those who have power. We give our power away, and then we're seduced into identifying with the object of our hatred. So, in other words, by identifying with the leaders, we model ourselves on these cyborg-type Atlantean descendants, the creature, the children of the Nephilim, and because we are so in slave think, the slave think allows us to identify with those who might murder us, who might kill us, the people who pay our bills, the people who give us a certain amount of life, survival, enough for survival. We have psychologically identified with our own controllers, and the controllers use this identification to the greatest maximum means, and therefore we ingest and digest everything that these people hand us. So if they say you're going to work, so many days a week, or you're going to be a slave in a factory with no time off, or you're going to work down the mines, we do it. And if they say you're going to go and kill in our name and you're going to butcher fellow human beings in our name, we do it. And if they say you're going to outsource your jobs and impoverish your own country, we're going to pull up the ladders of the middle class, we do it. And if they're going to say you're going to rape nature and poison the oceans, we do it. And if you're going to believe in false religion, just to keep you all pacified on the emotional side, because we know you're a bunch of emotional, chaotic individuals, we'll make sure that you have that handled for you to keep you warm at night. We'll believe that too. So we're living in a situation in which we are plastic. We are literally living in a cybernetic age, but it's brought about by our identification, not with the great teachers, not with the great masters, not with the great naturalists, but because remember, they're out there as well. So how come we haven't identified with Emerson and Thoreau, and with some of the great masters who talked about this? And how come we didn't, listen to Hahnemann and to Paracelsus and to all the ecologists, you see, and all of these people who tell us, and by the way, they can even show us a finer and better way to be, by the way. So even if you put it on paper, what they have, as against what the technotronic world has, they come out trumps every time. They have a beautiful template of how to live that roots us back in the ancestral past, but also puts us closer to nature and gives us a more brighter future. It appeases us spiritually much greater. It gives us greater bonding with one another, which everybody seems to be crying out for. So why is it that we turn then to, the world of the disco and the acid houses and the drug culture and the addictive culture and the media culture? See, so it's not just a simple choice. It's deeper than choice. It goes to the level of identification with our masters, the people who control the strings on which we move. And we have to deal with this identification and realize, like I said before, that the identification is the bastard child. It's like the abortion of the guilt that we carry for each of us choosing an inauthentic life.